top dans la voie 1.
Good evening and welcome to the Alps. We are in perhaps the most famous and legendary IFSC venue of them all. We're here in Chamonix in the Place du Mont Blanc. We've got 32 of the world's best speed climbers to come out this evening. Where else would you rather be? Charlie Bosco and Mike Langley here to talk you through the action. Mike, first thing to mention is the wall here. Obviously all the holds are a specific distance apart, but there's no specific wall we use, so friction can vary slightly from venue to venue. This is a relatively low friction wall, and as a result we saw quite a few slips in the qualifiers.
Yeah, I think some of the climbers going through the qualification yesterday have been a bit surprised by the low texture on the wall. We're only really speculating whether that's going to make a difference to the times, but seemingly looking at the times from yesterday, it does seem to have brought the times down a little bit. Things are a little bit slow. I think it was 9 seconds to get you through into the top 16 in the women's competition. That's the slowest we've seen all season, and a lot of talk of the town. It's the friction that's doing it.
And we're purely speculating here. In fact, I'll resume in just a second. Let's have a look at the starting list. 16 men and 16 women. These will be the men. Shin Chong will be first out against Stanislav Kokorin. Battle of the Legends as the first race we're going to see this evening. And Bassa Marwem in the penultimate race, currently leading the standings in the overall. There's a lot to be decided actually in the overall standings. This is the penultimate round of the Speed Climbing World Cup. There's only one left. We'll be in Xiamen in October for that. And it's Bassa Marwem who's in the second to last race, who's currently leading in the standings. And last week's winner, Alexandra Shikov, will be out in last race against Vladislav Dolin, the 2017 overall champion. Let's have a look at the women. Elizaveta Ivanova first out against Alexandra Elmer. Mike mentioned 9 seconds got you into the women's final, and it was Alexandra Elmer who got that time. Just 3 women under 8 seconds. As I said, a lot of slips in the qualifiers, relatively low friction on the wall. Be interesting to see how that pans out. Last week's winner, Anouk Jobert, like her compatriot Bassa Marwem, will be in the second to last race. Anouk Jobert actually tied on 300 ranking points for the season with Yiling Song, who broke the world record earlier this year. So a lot to be decided on both the men's and the women's side, not just here in Chamonix, but in the overall rankings. Mike, I was about to speculate before we saw the start list. Perhaps the drop-off in times was slightly greater proportionally on the women's side than the men's. Any idea why that might be?
Well, I think it comes down to a little bit just a difference between maybe the size between the men and the women. A lot of the guys are going to be a lot bigger than some of the female athletes. So in theory, if you're a bit taller on the speed wall, you can propel yourself off of the feet and the hands a bit better than potentially if you're having to rely on the smear. When we say the smear, we need the foot pad on the texture of the wall rather than on the hold itself. A lot of the women relying on that smear itself. Many of the men do as well. I think it proportionally makes a bit more of a difference in the women's than it does in the men's.
Interesting stuff. As I say, this is pure speculation. But yeah, we've definitely seen slips, and the time slightly slower than we have seen this season from the women. Just to remind you, the world record set by Yiling Song earlier this year was 7 seconds, .101. Absolutely shattered the existing record, which was previously shared. And over on the men's side, 5.48, the record belonging to Reza Alipor Zandifar, who did not qualify for the last 16. He is here in Chamonix, but he did not make it through to the last 16. Just didn't quite have the outright speed in the qualifiers.
Well, let's just continue the story a little bit here, but about this slipping and whatnot. Some of the climbers saying that they had to try and basically adopt one of their previous sequences that didn't rely on the smearing of the rubber of their shoe on the wall quite as much as they would previously if the wall maybe had a slightly better friction. In Villars, we've seen times in the women's competition, like we said, it was 9 seconds to go through here into the top 16, whereas in Villars it was 8.64. So it's in speed climbing terms over the 15 metres, that's a pretty decent gap.
Here we go, first race, third place in Villars in the left-hand lane, the A lane, Elizaveta Ivanova, and on the right, Alexandra Elmer of Austria, who came through with that 9 seconds, and it's a clean start from both. Ivanova going pretty well, got a decent lead, pretty much a body length lead at this stage. If she can keep things clean, which she can, with a very quick time, 7.784, she will be safely through.
You can see just the way that Elizaveta made the start there. She clearly had the better start. Actually, good clean run. Talking about slips and low friction, but nice clean run all the way up the wall. Elizaveta's bronze medal from Villars. Obviously, confidence is going to be high going into this competition. Just a few days ago.
Yeah, it was interesting. We also seem to have quite a lot of slips in Vilar as well, and there's speculation that perhaps it's just a case of climbers pushing it to the limit. It's not like running the 100 metres where obviously there is a skill element, but it's outright speed. In speed climbing, there is a huge skill element, and it's execution under pressure, and it's also trying to find that margin.
Yeah, I would say execution is exactly the right word to use for speed climbing. Speed climbing is an execution sport. You can train the sequence for years and years and years, but you've got to execute on the night.
Ksenia Petrova on the left against Andrea Rocha of Ecuador on the right. Ecuador churning out pretty handy climbers in several disciplines now. And it was a good start from Rojas, but a slightly better one from Petrova. But that said, this is very tight through the middle section. This is going to be a very, very close race. And they both stumble at the same time, and it's Rocha who takes it, 9.263.
Yeah, good scenes there. It's a little bit like last week, actually, in Villar's races going head-to-head all the way up to the final jump to the wall. That was amazing. I think it was a right foot slip compared to a left foot slip on the right-hand lane. Good race, and you can see what it means to her to win. It's
kind of a mirror image. So she goes through to race Elizaveta Ivanova in the round of 8, and that's nice to see. Alexandra Kaluchka will be out next against Di Niu of China. Kaluchka came through with an 8.16 seconds to Niu's 8.77. Auto belays being fitted. The days of belayers and all the occasional problems that came along with that are long gone. It's auto belays all the way. And they're ready to go. Slightly different method of where they put the tape of the auto belay. You can see Kaluchka's got it through the middle. Niu with it over the right-hand shoulder, and whatever Kaluchka was doing, it seems to have worked on this occasion. Very clean run from her. 7.825 sees her through.
Yep, nice clean run there from Kaluchka. You can see that big slip from Niu in the middle of the wall. Unfortunately, at that stage, luckily for Alexandra Kaluchka, she just brought it home at that. She didn't try and go pedal to the metal all the way to the top. She just obviously could see in her peripheral vision that there was a slip on the lane next to her. And in the dual format, it's not about the quickest time, it's about beating your opponent. Got it done.
Maria Krasavina now, legend of the game, will be on the left against Ikamar Nurul of Indonesia. Really good to see the Indonesians over here. We kind of got a glimpse of their speed climbers. They generally came to a lot of the Asian World Cups, but we didn't see them quite as much in Europe. It's really good they've been making the trip over a bit later on. We've got World Cup winner Aries Sazanti Rahelu climbing later on. She looked pretty handy in the qualifiers, 7.88, so it'll be interesting to see how she gets on. But for now, it's Krasavina came through with an 8.2 flat to Ikamar Nurul's 8.71. Ready? Krasavina just rocked back Nurul with that really unusual starting position with a very bent left leg. Whatever Krasavina did at the start seems to have worked. Ditto the middle section. She's safely through 8.234. She can go quicker than that. It's marginally slower than her qualifying time, but she's safely through.
Not too much drama in that run. Relatively clean races through and through. Let's just have another look. Good to see the athletes just hitting the holds quite cleanly that time. Feet and hands.
Well, having said we'd seen a lot of slips, we haven't really seen any apart from in the second race, excuse me. But we are seeing relatively slow times. This will be really interesting to see. Yiling Song, she was second in Vilar. She holds the current world record, as I mentioned earlier, 7.101. Now we'll get a bit of an idea where the climbers are hanging back a little bit, be that tactical or to play to this ever so slightly lower friction wall. She takes on Capucine Viglione of France. So it'll be Song on the left and Viglione on the right. Viglione lost in concentration. Yiling Song looking like she wants to get on with things. World record holder on the left. Absolutely flew out of the blocks, but not that quick through the lower section, but then absolutely rockets through the middle. Very clean at the top and takes it in a quick time by the standards of this weekend, 7.562.
Let's have another look. You can see Song's technique, it's so impeccable. She always gets a relatively steady start, then just seems to hit the accelerator after the second or third move and then really just power it to the top. Gets this fascinating momentum that she has.
yeah, having suspected for the first second of that race that things might be close, she suddenly just ate up the ground through that lower third and suddenly had a lead she was not going to relinquish. So Anna Brozek now on the left of Poland, taking on Elena Remizova. Pretty close in the qualifying times, hence them racing each other at this stage. Brozek with an 8.49 to Remizova's 8.66, so 17 hundredths of a second between them in their best qualifying times. Remember, in the qualifying round, which we don't live stream, it comes down to time. In the final, which we're currently watching, it comes down to simply beating your opponent regardless of time. So Brozek slightly quicker away on the initial getaway, but Remizova then quicker through the middle third, and this is going to be a very tight race, and there's a big slip. There isn't. Brozek goes through 8.195.
See, Brozek's pretty impressed with herself to actually take that one away. She seemed to be ahead at the start, like you said, Charlie, but then the ground got eaten up, and right at the very, very last minute, she won it on the final jump, really. Have a look. Time and time again, these speed competitions, they come down to this in the dual format, the jump to the buzzer. Let's have another look. This is the midsection. You can see she's just slightly behind at that stage. Cleanly through that top six. It was really, really close. Just a bit more power to the finish hold.
About the same gap between them as the one is in their best qualifying times, interestingly enough. Eri Sazanti-Raheu now against Anouk Jobert, World Cup winners both. Jobert currently on 300 ranking points for the season. She is tied with Yiling Song for the lead in the overall season, and as I mentioned earlier, we've got this World Cup here in Chamonix, and then the final World Cup of the season for the speed climbers will be in Xiamen in China in the third weekend of October.
A lot of pressure here on Anouk Jobert, winner of the last week's competition, but really struggled throughout the whole competition, really. But to get through, she scraped through. Let's see what she can do.
She's got a very valuable and underrated skill of winning when she's not at her best, Anouk Jobert, and she wasn't at her best last weekend in Velo, as you suggested, Mike, but still found a way. She's got her work cut out here, though. This is a race between two World Cup winners, and it's Raheu who's leading it right now. Jobert really got work to do. Slips in the middle. Raheu keeps it clean, and she goes through. Anouk Jobert, the leader, the joint leader in the overall standings, is out. Eri Sazanti-Raheu is through, shade under 8 seconds.
Really fascinating to have another look at that one. Raheu did seem to be slightly behind, and it didn't actually get the best start, but then really seemed to fire up right next to her opponent through the midsection. Side by Raheu, but then a slip after a slip after a slip for Jobert there, unfortunately.
And that is really disappointing for Anouk Jobert. Home World Cup, the only one that the French speed climbers have. And as you can see, she didn't actually touch the pad. She saw that Eri Sazanti-Raheu's timing screen was already green and knew the game was up. Shame for Anouk Jobert.
I have to say, Charlie, at the moment this dual format is the thing that's causing the issues between the slips on the races, not the texture at all. I think the athletes have adapted to what they've felt in the qualifiers yesterday, and this one isn't necessarily all about the conditions on the wall, I wouldn't say.
Patricia Chudziak of Poland now taking on Mingwei Ni of China. Yiling Song of China already through into the final 8. Can they make it 2 out of 8? We are about to find out. Chudziak came through with an 8.2 flat, which was exactly the same time as Maria Krasavina, and Mingwei Ni 8.68, so about almost half a second slower in the qualifiers than her opponent. Chudziak absolutely flew out of the blocks. You can see the reaction time is the small number next to their time. Chudziak out in just over 1/10 of a second, but not that quick through the middle of the race. Ni was leading, missed the pad, and Chudziak took it.
By all accounts, Chudziak should not have won that race. Ni was away, all the way to the end. She looked like she had it in the bag. Now it was a left hand, completely missed the top left hand hold. End up with a 9.037 after gaining some sort of composure. Big upset there and a big mistake.
Yeah, Chudziak absolutely flew out of the blocks. I was busy saying it in the middle of the race, but there is if you look next to the big number that's ticking away as the climbers climb, there is actually a smaller number, and that is their reaction time. Anything below 0.1 seconds is considered a false start, and Chudziak went in 0.109, so that's about as close to a false start as you can get. And remember, with the false start now, there are no second choices. That is that. So we'll have the men's round of 16 next. two absolute legends, Shi Jin-song and Stanislav Kokorin. Our first climbers out. Darkness descending here in Chamonix. It actually looks a lot darker on the screen than it feels here. The mountains still visible in the background, the Bosson Glacier tumbling behind us. It really is a spectacular place for a climbing competition.
I have to say, Charlie, with Jan Kriers, Jinbao Long and Reza all out in this men's competition, those guys all made finals last week in Villars. You could say that there's a door open here for somebody to walk through to challenge one of the legends in the men's speed competition.
Yeah, Bassam Marwem currently leading the overall standings, but only by 17 points ahead of Dmitry Timofeev and Vladislav Dolin, 34 points behind that.
Ready?
Very quick start from both, but it was Song who got the marginally better lower section. He's opened up a pretty decent lead. Can he hang on to it? Yes, he can. Dips under 6 seconds as well. 5.986.
Yes, that's what we want to see from speed climb. Both climbers good, clean runs, just going head to head all the way to the finish pad. Good clean start to the men's races.
This was a Song. He was absolutely mighty through the first half of the route. He had a really big lead at halfway, and Kokorin looked like he closed it up slightly. But he'd done enough by then, Jong. It was in the bag. Sergei Rukin will be out next, be taking on Aspar Jayalolo of Indonesia, who at times has really entertained us with his hairstyle. Relatively conservative option today.
I'm disappointed.
Yeah, I won't lie, I'm the same. Jealousy's a terrible thing. Real difference in builds. Rukin must be best part of 20 centimetres taller than his opponent. You can see the difference from when they're holding the start holds. Rukin on the left, Jayalolo on the right, and Rukin got an absolutely blistering start. Look at the reaction time, and look what it's got him. It's got him a win, 5.835.
Oh, so close.
The difference there, if we see the stats again, I'm pretty sure the difference was in the reaction time. It was about a tenth of a second in the difference of the reaction time.
Yeah, and the finish time was in the hundredths, I think, as well. It was Rukin on the left, who looked really steady, but Jayalolo he just moves so fast in the middle section. Gained the time, 8.3 versus an 8.7. Good entertaining stuff here already in the men's competition.
Yeah, 0.04 of a second separating them. Long Kao of China taking on John Brosler of the USA. Good to see John in the final. He's been close on many occasions, and been climbing well recently, and really good to see him into this final here in Chamonix. We've got a massive crowd here in Chamonix. I have to say the Place du Mont Blanc pretty packed out, seated near the front, standing near the back, people on balconies in the Hotel Alpina at the back of the venue. Mind you, I know what a room costs in there, they've earned the view. John Brosler came through the 6.09. Long Kao came through from qualifiers with 5.82. Kao on the left, Brosler on the right. Kao facing directly into the wall and launches up it, but then had a big stumble. And John Brosler needs only keep it clean, which he does. 6.096, almost exactly the same time as his best in the qualifiers. He's into the final 8.
John Brosler looking seriously pumped after that. Good win. It was a slip there from Long Kao. I'm sure we'll see it again. After that slip, there was no doubts really, as long as John Brosler kept it together at the top. He would have thought maybe he eased it off a little bit, but he didn't seem to. Just had his head down, focus on what he had to do, which was go 100%. This was an interesting conversation I was having last week, Charlie, with co-commentator Time Milana Yip about whether athletes in the speed ever go less than 100% at this stage in the competition. Can they ever hold anything back?
It's safe in the times they can, but it's a dangerous game to play. Here's a man who knows a thing or two about speed climbing. Daniel Boldyrev on the left, the world record holder until it was taken off him by Reza Ali Porsche and Zandify. He's taking on Sungbyom Lee of South Korea. Always good to see Daniel Boldyrev. He's been at this a long time. and still very much a contender.
Well, Boulder is actually feeding into the next generation as well. I believe it's Shauna Coxey who's been receiving a little bit of training from Daniel Boldarev. I do apologise if that's not 100% the correct fact. I'm pretty sure it's Boldarev who's been giving Shauna the tips to get her on the speed wall.
He's the services of people like Daniel Boldarev and Libor Harosa have become increasingly in demand since the Olympic decision, but you can see Boldarev still very much got it himself and absolutely flies up the lower section. This will be tight though, but he does take it. Boldarev 5.857. Yeah, it's actually been a good industry to be in, speed climbing coach, over the last few years, and is going to continue to be as we head towards Tokyo next year.
Let's have another look at this really good matchup here. Both guys using the far left-hand foot, or the third foothold at the bottom. Sort of traditional speed climbing technique. Good clean run. All of the men's run really, but I think we've had one major slip so far that's determined who wins the race.
Yeah, we were talking a lot about the slips, and we haven't seen that many, but what we have seen, as I said earlier on, is relatively slow times. Nobody underneath 5.85 yet on the men's side, and on the women's, some margin off the world record, well over half a second. So perhaps climbers just adapting slightly. Here's Dmitry Timofeev, currently second in the overall standings, so every move absolutely vital for him. Could well end the season as overall champion. He takes on Alfie Mohammed, who's fifth in the overall standings.
Timofeev absolutely had it in his hands last week as well. He slipped on the final move to hand the win to Shikov right at the very, very last move. So he's out for blood this this weekend, I think.
So keep an eye on the reaction time. Small number on the inside of the graphics there, and it was Mohammed who definitely got the quicker start, almost 0.6 of a second. He's quick through the middle section, he's quick top to bottom, 5.854.
Absolutely textbook stuff there from Alfia Mohammed. Like you said, Charlie, good quick start. 0.166 off the starting pad and a top time of 5.854. Really good clean run. I think Timofeev is going to be really, really annoyed about that. All the way to the big final last week. Goes out in the first race the following week. Such is the nature of speed climbing. Sometimes a lot of upsets always on the cards.
Well, contenders for the overall title, a couple of them have got a very anxious evening coming up. Dmitry Timofeev trailing Bassam Marwan by 17 ranking points, can now only watch and see what Bassa does. Ditto Anouk Jobert, who is joint top of the overall rankings for the women and can only watch as Yiling Song progresses or otherwise through this evening's final. So Martin Zienski now taking on Alexandra Shilov, not to be confused with Alexandra Shikov, the winner last week in Villars. Zienski, a former winner here in Chamonix. Shilov got the better start, but then almost immediately slipped, and Zienski wasn't that quick out the blocks, but just kept it clean, 6.087.
Not too much to read into that one, really. Alexander Shilov, he had the better start, like you said, Charlie, and then immediately missed the foot on the sequence skipping hold number 4. Seen that for all of the lots of the top speed athletes, actually missing hold number 4, just planted his left foot and it just skimmed off the left-hand edge of it. Big slip, and that race was all over pretty much.
Well, there are slips and there are big slips. We saw last week in Villars both climbers slip in the same race, and it was who slipped less, but that really was a huge slip. I mean, he pretty much ended up dead hanging on his left arm. It was very hard to imagine him coming back from there. Well, Bassam Marwan now.
Yeah, I was going to say, Charlie, there's an ultimate skill of the speed climber is to regain momentum after slipping, but like you said, with a slip that big, you're basically stopped, and it's really, really hard to get going again, especially when your feet are completely gone, both of them, and a hand, so you're just left there with one hand hanging, no coming back.
Bassam Marwan, season champion from 2018, and especially after Dmitry Timofeev's slip, favourite to regain his title. However, has to beat Konstantin Pavlenko, but he's very, very quick through the middle section. Bassa takes it in 5.947, no problem at all for Bassam Marwan. Made to work for it but got the job done, and he is through.
Certainly was made to work for it. That was neck and neck all the way up. So close at times there. Pavlenko really put the pressure on Mawim there, and I think the crowd, wouldn't like to speculate quite how many thousand are here, a lot, were really on the edge of their seats there, because hometown favourite Bassa Mawim was very close to getting knocked out. A 9-4 versus a 9-9, I think it was at the top there.
Yeah, quite uncharacteristic as well. He really slowed down in the top half of the route, Bassa. No clear mistake as such, but just not super clean. Not quite as precise as he would have liked, and really seemed to lose a lot of time in the last 5-6 metres of the route.
Well, I mean, we are still speculating about slip on the wall, but I would have thought that run of Bassa would have been quicker if the texture was slightly higher on the wall. You could see the way his feet were skidding.
I'm inclined to agree. Russia against Russia in the final race. Last week's winner, Alexander Shikov, qualified 5.91. Vladislav Dolin, the 2017 overall champion, 6.05 for him, but he can certainly go quicker than that.
L'expérience à droite et la jeunesse et l'homme en forme à gauche.
Parce que pour l'instant, on a un Chinois, un Russe, un Américain, un Ukrainien. On a pour le net.
It's good to see Julian's got speed written on his chalk bag there, just in case he forgets which discipline he's got his chalk bag ready for. It's the little note to self. Speed.
Ready?
Both climbers going for the Jan Yagambres option and leaving the chalk bag at home, and it's Dolin who got a very quick start. Shikov, massive slip. There was then a stumble from Dolin. This won't be an especially quick time, but it will be enough to see him through. 6.402.
I think Julian actually did quite well there. The slip, when your opponent slips like that, I think sometimes it can really put you off a little bit. He just seemed to have his head focused on the lane that he was running. Job done, 6.402. Like I said, Charlie, not blisteringly fast, but at this stage it's about getting the job done, and unfortunately on the left, Shikov certainly didn't get the job done. He's had quite a few slips on that left-hand lane at the moment.
So, final 8 over on the women's side. Elizaveta Ivanova will take on Andrea Rocha. She was in the race with Ksenia Petrova, you might remember, where both of them slipped on pretty much exactly the same spot, mirror image slips. And then it would be Alexandra Kaluchka against Maria Krasavina, Yiling Song against Anna Brozek, Eri Sezanti Raheu, who knocked out Anouk Jobert, taking on Patricia Chudziak. So Yiling Song will take the lead in the overall standings on the women's side. The question is by how much. Over on the men's side, Shizin Song will take on Sergei Rukin, and then John Brosler against Daniel Boldirev. What a race that could be. Alfia Mohammed will then take on Martin Zienski, and then Bassett Marwem against Vladislav Dolin. The season champion from 2018 against the season champion from 2017 will race in Chamonix in 2019. Darkness really beginning to fall here now. Mont Blanc is beginning to disappear from view. Temperature beginning to drop. It really is a wonderful, wonderful place to watch speed climbing. Elizaveta Ivanova now, 7.784. One of the quicker times we've seen today, actually, taking on Andrea Rocha. And as I mentioned, she had a big slip, so 9.263, not representative of her abilities. Her qualifying time of 8.53, a little more representative. They start from scratch and they race each other now in the round of 8.
Ready?
Rocha rocked back just before she launched, but it was Ivanova who got the better start. She's got half a body length lead that is turning into a body length lead, and it's turning into a win in a quick time, 7.686.
Looks like Ivanova's form, bronze medal from Villars last week, continues here in Chamonix. Nice clean run all the way up from Ivanova, just got the job done really.
Yeah, third last time. She's guaranteed at least fourth this time, so it's been a good trip to the Alps for her. They're not coming to Briançon, the speed climbers. It's a lead only in Briançon, so they've just got the 2 World Cups in July. There is, of course, a small matter of the World Championships in Hachioji in the middle 10 days of August. Alexandra Kaluchka now of Poland taking on Maria Krasavina. A young up-and-comer on the left against a legend on the right. Kaluchka, eyes closed, lost in concentration. Krasavina just staring into the distance. Now they're both ready. Very good start from both climbers. Look at the reaction times, but it's Kaluchka who's been quicker through the middle section, but now being caught by Krasavina, or she was until Krasavina slipped, and it's 7.687, quick time.
Yeah, good clean run from Kaluchka. Unfortunately, Krasavina there, it was less of a slip, more of just a bit of a fumble. Let's have another look on the right-hand side here. There it is. It just seemed to lose momentum a bit, maybe like a bit of a knee tap or something on the underside of one of those holes. She just seemed to lose both feet at the same time. So she didn't really fall off or get even close to a big slip. It just seemed to be a bit of a rattle or something that just lost her the momentum. She'll go through to go against Ivanova in the next round.
Yeah, and only a thousandth of a second difference actually between Elizaveta Ivanova's winning time and Alexandra Kaluchka's running time, so that promises to be a very close race. Yiling Song now on the left. You would suspect the favourite here against Anna Brozek. Yiling Song, the world record holder, absolutely exploded onto the speed climbing scene and just decimated the world record. Actually broke it twice in the same competition earlier on this year in China.
I think having that world record against your name really piles on the pressure against your opponents.
Song got the quicker start, although not that the clock would show it. Certainly looked quicker, and she's been quicker through the middle section. Just needs to keep it clean, and does it. 7.291, by far the quickest time we've seen so far.
Yeah, time's tumbling here. This is good to see here in Chamonix. A lot of speculation. The athletes, some of them unhappy about the wall, but it seems to be performing quite well in the finals here tonight. Good clean run from Song. Actually, right at the very top, she just seemed to have a little bit of a head dip right on the last move. She looks like she just slowed it down very slightly. Left foot on the third from last hole. Didn't seem to hit quite perfectly. In the end, got the job done in a very handy time.
Yeah, actually, that's a quicker time than anyone else in the female speed climbing world has ever managed. That would have been quick enough for a new world record had she not already broken the record earlier this year.
I have to say, to me it looked like there was a slight stumble on the left foot, but in the slow-mo replay with the advantage of seeing it a bit slower, it actually looked pretty clean. So Yiling Song looking on form once again. She's second in Villars. Can she go one better?
Anouk Jobert will be watching this with her head in her hands, because Yiling Song looks on form here. Eri Sazanti Raheu now getting ready to go against Patricia Chudziak. Both eyes closed. A few final deep breaths, and they head to the wall. You can see Chudziak got the tape of the perfect descent belay device on the right. Eri Sazanti Raheu with it in the middle, and Chudziak got a better start. Relatively slow at the blocks, Raheu having to work for this, but does enough. 7.816.
Raheu takes another impressive win there with just good, clean speed climbing. Let's have another look. Yeah, the replay this stage in the competition. Chudziak looked slightly ahead in the midsection, but in the end, on the left, she brought it back.
Yeah, relatively sluggish reaction time of 2.56 seconds. Left herself with a little bit of work to do. So, without further ado, it's on to the men. Xizhen Song of China against Sergei Rukin. You can see it there, 5.986 for Zhang against Rukin's 5.835. So both dipping pretty comfortably under 6 seconds, but still some way short of world record pace. Brosser against Boldarev, Mohamed against Diensky, and Mawem against Dolin, the 4 races. This for a place in the final 4, the semi-finals. Climbers then battle it out for a place in the big final, with the runners-up entering the small final, the bronze medal playoff effectively. Song comes out, looked up, and suddenly there's black clouds all above the venue. I really hope we're not about to be interrupted by rain. Keep your fingers crossed. All is well for now. Song on the left, Rukin on the right. Very quick start from Rukin, absolutely flew out of the blocks, but it's Song who's quicker through the middle section, and importantly is cleaner through the middle section. He's safely through. 5.840 sees him into the final four. He's in the semi-finals, guaranteed at least 4th place here in Chamonix.
Xu Xinzong back on form once again. That's good to see. Let's have a look at the slip on the right-hand side this time. Just the right foot skidded off the top of that hold. Like we said, in this dual format, that's a big slip at the left as well. By that point, it was already over, unfortunately. But like I was saying, in this dual format, the climbers, they just have to go absolutely all out on every single run. There's no point in trying to leave something in the tank. No point in just leaving just that tiny little thing that might mean you might hit the footholds more cleanly. You've just got to go out there, trust your body, and just hope for the best. Unfortunately, that does lead to big slips.
And John Brosler initially thought that Daniel Boldyrev was in his lane, but no, John needs to be in the A lane. Daniel Boldyrev, a pretty big lump. I wouldn't want to try and move him off a speed climbing lane. But he had it right. He is in lane B and John Brosler is in lane A. So former world record holder Daniel Boldyrev in lane B. John Brosler of the United States, who beat Long Cow in the previous race, is in lane A.
Ready?
And there's a false start, and it's John Brosler. You can see his reaction time, the small number just underneath the American flag, 0.071. That is so disappointing for John to have got to that stage of the competition, but a false start counts him. You cannot leave this timing pad in less than 0.1 seconds. And he started in 0.071. Let's have another look. Can we see it with the naked eye? Perhaps. It's very hard to say. It wasn't a clear one, I have to say. I didn't initially see it, but false start for John.
Yeah, one of the first false starts we've seen in the competition, actually, which in many ways is a positive thing that we haven't had many false starts. But yeah, very unfortunate him, and it does give Daniel Boldyrev potentially a slight advantage going into the next round against Xu Xinzong, because he will be out of a bit of a rest.
Alfie Mohamed now taking on Martin Zienski. Zienski on the right, Alfie Mohamed on the left of Indonesia. Alfie Mohamed won in Chongqing earlier on this year. Here he goes in Chamonix. Very quick start from Mohamed, absolutely flying. He's got a small lead. He'll need to keep it clean though, but it was Zienski who stumbled. Alfie Mohamed takes it 6.037.
Interesting to see that one back, just to see exactly what went wrong there for Zienski. Both climbers got a good clean start.
It wasn't a huge slip, was it? Just looked like a stumble mid-route. Let's have another look. Keep your eye on Zienski.
Yeah, it was there, the left foot just skimmed past the top of the hold.
Kind of looks like what we'd call a dry fire bouldering or lead climbing. Just left foot just fired down. Must give you a real fright. Anyway, he is safely through. So regardless of what happens, we are going to have a final four on the men's side who are all World Cup winners. Both Bassam Awam and Vladislav Dolin have won World Cups, and they'll be joining Xu Xinzong, Daniel Boldyrev and Alfie Mohamed, who are also World Cup winners. So it's a powerhouse final four over on the men's side. Who will it be though? Bassam Awam really could do with hammering home the advantage over Dimitri Timofeev in terms of the overall rankings. Bassa came into this competition with a 17-point lead in the standings, and he's just pulling further and further away with every race he wins after Timofeev was eliminated in the round of 16. Bassa on the left, Vladislav Dolin on the right. Expect the French crowd to get pretty loud, and it's a false start for Bassam Awam, and look at the reaction time, 0.099, a thousandth of a second off a legal start. It's that A lane again. Bassam Awam is a thousandth of a second away from a legal start. Let's have another look. Can we see it in slow motion? I have to say, I can't see a false start there, but the timing pad doesn't lie. Oh, there is nothing in that.
When there's a thousandth, Charlie, even no matter how slow the replay, you have to have some incredible kit to see that with the naked eye. We were just saying not many false starts tonight, and then 2 back-to-back. Big disappointment for the Chamonix crowd. Their local hero is out, unfortunately. Didn't get him to see him run either.
Oh, that's extraordinary. He was 1,000th of a second. You can't help feeling slightly sorry for Basser, but the rules are the rules. Ain't a lot of middle ground when it comes to timing pads. Not a lot of judgment involved, and the timing pad don't lie.
I always think it must be massively frustrating for the athletes, but you just have to trust the computers. You know, they in theory, they don't lie. So it's a heartbreaker, but there's no stopwatch in the world that can watch those feet moving, unfortunately.
So there we see the women's semi-finalists. On the left, Elizaveta Ivanova, then Alexandra Koluchka, Yiling Song and Aries Suzanti-Raheo on the men's side. 4 World Cup winners, Xizin Song, Daniel Boldyrev, Alfio Mohamed and Vladislav Dolin. So I suppose the one person who'll be relieved is Dmitry Timofeev watching on, because Basser's lead will not be extended quite as far as it could have been. Alexandra Koluchka getting an eyeful of spotlight there. And the climbers get reintroduced to the crowd at this stage. So Yiling Song, the world record holder. She is.
18 years old. Elle a 18 ans, c'est la nouvelle venue.
I say, Charlie, temperature's really dipping here a little bit. The speed climbers will be wanting to get on with this a little bit. I think they've just got a canvas tent really just behind the wall to keep themselves hopefully dry as well as warm. It's tricky. I think the speed climbers really like to get warm and stay really warm. Conditions and friction in lead and boulder are slightly different. Sometimes you want it kind of a bit cooler, a bit crisper, but in speed sometimes a bit higher temperatures just keep those big muscle groups working. Is potentially a good thing. Size of boulder over there compared to his fellow athletes is quite staggering, actually.
Mohamed Alfian Mohamed, the climbers not standing in correct order on the men's side. I will leave it to braver people to go and tell them to move. And Vladislav Dolin introduced there. He'll take on Alfian Mohamed in the second of the men's semi-finals. The humongous black cloud still hangs above Chamonix. It's above the Brevant peak. Mont Blanc largely obscured, the Aiguille du Midi obscured by this huge black cloud. It looks like something that's been computer generated for Game of Thrones, but it doesn't yet seem to have developed into any rain. Long may that be the case. Elizaveta Ivanova will be racing in the first semi-final against Alexandra Koluchka, and then it'll be Yiling Song against Aries Suzanti-Raheo. Battling for a place in the big final, the runners-up go into the small final playoff for the bronze medal.
Thoroughly enjoyable speed competition tonight, Charlie, I have to say. It's really close. We're 5 metres from the speed wall, and we're really picking up a great buzz from the athletes and from the crowd. It's Chamonix knows how to put on a good show.
Yeah, the Place du Mont Blanc absolutely packed, as it always seems to be. Tomorrow night it will be even more jam-packed, you suspect. Lead finals on the Saturday night, always a big event here in Chamonix, and they really turn out to support the climbers. Xizin Song against Daniel Boldyrev will be our first men's semi-final, and Alfian Mohamed against Vladislav Dolin. Mike, I believe, I've just been told we've got around a minute to wait. How have you enjoyed the Chamonix experience? It's such a special place.
Well, yeah, that's it. It's truly special. I mean, no matter how many times you stand in the square here and look up at Mont Blanc, you can't fail to be just mesmerised every single time. And if you're a speed climber, you're a lead climber, you're a boulderer, you may not be an alpine climber or a mountaineer, but you can't help but be inspired by this. And to have the climbing wall all with that in the background, it's beautiful.
Yeah, you can actually see the summit of Mont Blanc from the town centre of Chamonix, and if you've got a good pair of binoculars, you can see people standing on the summit. Apparently, when the first ascent was made, they were able to signal from the summit down to the town. It really is quite extraordinary to be standing at 1,000 metres and looking up at the summit of a almost 5,000 metre peak.
Yeah, there was no dropping an Instagram post of you on the summit back in those days, that's for sure.
Does it count if you don't gram it? That's the question on everyone's lips. At Jacques Balmat, I think is the at Dr. Packard, the 2 first ascensionists, if you can find them on Instagram. Climbers just about ready. Here we go. before Mike and I get lost in any more Instagram nonsense. So I think I've talked more about Instagram this last 5 minutes than I have for the last month. Elizaveta Ivanova now on the left. She'll be taking on Alexandra Kaluchka. This is for a place in the big final. And the big final is the race for the silver and gold medals. As I say, the runner-up goes into the small final, playing off for the bronze medal. Ivanova in her last race. 7.686 against 7.687, only a thousandth of a second in time between these two in the last races, so you'd expect this one to be close, and it is through the middle section. Who's going to take it as we near the top? It's Ivanova, 7.556, very, very close race, as we suspected it might be. It is Ivanova who progresses.
I have to say, Charlie, all the way up that one, I thought Ivanova was slightly behind Kaluchka. Let's have another look. She used, on the left-hand side there, Ivanova used so much power off the line. This goes head-to-head. You can see Kaluchka seemingly at the tiniest advantage. It was that hit for the pad once again. That proves you've got to keep it all the way to the stretch of the fingers onto the pad. Ivanova will go at least one medal better than last week.
She will. Guaranteed to pick up a second medal in the space of a week. Not a bad week at the office. Yiling Song, now the world record holder, looked very, very quick. Wasn't even her cleanest run, but 7.291 in the last race. As I say, that's faster than anyone else has ever been. It's just not quite as fast as Yiling Song herself has been this season. Eri Sazanti-Raheu really got her work cut out here from what we saw from Song earlier.
Ready?
Yiling Song absolutely flew out of the blocks, as did Eri Sazanti-Raheu, but it's Yiling Song who's held on to the speed and takes it in 7.252, once again dipping well under 7.3 seconds.
Yeah, Yiling Song really is on form here in Chamonix. You can see her back up to this really quick time, 7.25 that time. Raheu just didn't seem to quite have it on that run, unfortunately. Couldn't go toe-to-toe with the world record holder. Not bad performance from Raheu, though. Excuse me. It's just
big slip at the top, sadly.
Yeah. There, the left foot missed that foothold as well, but she managed to keep momentum quite nicely.
There was the slip. It was from the hold itself. The right foot, the smear just before that left foot, didn't land that well either.
Yeah, we're seeing time and time again climbers using that crucial smear patch. You can see the rubber building up there, so potentially the conditions are improving. Big smear, but it doesn't seem to have quite the amount of traction as to get the left foot on.
So Yiling Song 0.3 of a second quicker than any of her rivals right now. You'd imagine a clear favourite in the final, but as we can see today, with false starts from some of the big names and big slips, and Anouk Jobert going out in the round of 16, anything could happen. Boldyrev now against Song. These two have a long history of competing against each other, both been in the game for a long time. A lot of mutual respect, but only one of them can progress to the big final here in the Place du Mont Blanc, a packed Place du Mont Blanc under a moody sky in Chamonix. Both getting clipped in. Song on the left, Boldyrev on the right. Boldyrev seemingly quite enjoying looking out at this vast crowd that are watching on. Song just staring at the ground in front of him. Looks like he'd rather just keep his head on what he's got to do instead of acknowledging the crowd.
Ready?
Song really got a good launch there, and he's been very quick through the middle section, but this is tight. Slight slip from Boldyrev could cost him, and it does. 5.698 from Song sees him through.
Another superb clean run there from Xixin Song. His time's dipping as well. Only Boldyrev, unfortunately, the big man goes out on that one. Let's have another look. Stage that slightly cleaner technique, potentially up the middle there from Xixin Song, a bit sort of more compact. Slight sort of waft of the leg for Boldyrev at the top. He's a big man, but it's got a lot of limbs to move. A lot of limb rather than limbs, I should say, because that would just be a slight disadvantage. Good to see Boldarev going so well again, once again in the speed competition though.
Alfia Mohamed now on the left, taking on Vladislav Dolin. The rain actually has just started here in Chamonix. Couple of drops falling. This isn't what we want to see. Hopefully it can hang off long enough that we can get our competition and our interviews and podium done, but it's just beginning to spit here. It's that fine rain that gets you wet.
Luckily the wall does have a small capping roof on it though, so the hold should stay dry.
Yeah, I think the wall will stay largely dry. It's just getting to and from it that can be the problem when it suddenly starts to rain hard. Alfia Mohamed now on the left against Dolin. It certainly won't rain before these two get to the top of the wall. Mohamed very quick through the lower section, but Dolin looking pretty clean too, but it is Mohamed who takes it 5.609. He's into the big final.
Charlie, that was one of those epic speed races where you can't tell who's going to win right up till that green light flashes at the top. Before Dolin had it. She made good progress through the lower section, actually really picked up pace against Mohamed, but it was the final move again on the buzzer, on the timing pad at the top, just to see who took away that one and goes through to the big final.
Just having another look at this, all look pretty clean. Yeah, not much wrong with that. And dipping under 5.7 seconds. So as we await now the women's small final, it'll be Alexandra Kaluchka against Eri Sazantigraheo. No false starts on the women's competition. We had 2 in the round of 8. Over on the men's side, Bassa Marwem and John Broslet both false starting. None so far on the women's competition, and long may it continue. We want to see these climbers race. Will this slight bit of rain, tiny bit of humidity affect things? I suspect not. Let's hope not. It is, as I say, just beginning to spit a little bit here. Not really enough to get anything wet right now. I'm looking across the crowd. Most people still standing there in T-shirts. Mind you, they're used to having alpine epics. I suppose a bit of rain as you're watching speed climbing barely registers.
I have to say, Charlie, one of the great things about being in Chamonix is at this time of night, maybe around 7, 8 o'clock, but slightly earlier, people coming off of those alpine epics, just staggering through the town, just trying to find a restaurant, something to eat. It's always so amazing. We've been sitting here in the media truck kind of all day working on this, and we've certainly not been having an alpine epic, and you can see the whites of the eyes for the people who have. It's a really inspiring place to be as a climber.
Yeah, search for burger restaurant near me. It's the standard Google entry of the Diego de Midi as you come down. Slight delay here, it would seem. It is really the last thing we need with the weather beginning to turn before this women's small final. Temperature really beginning to drop here in Chamonix as well. When we first came on air at 9 o'clock, it was still relatively warm, felt quite light, but it's pretty much complete darkness now. The mountains silhouetted against this moody sky, and the temperature really beginning to come down now. They're getting the big introduction from Christopher, our venue MC. It will be Alexandra Kaluchka against Eri Sazantigraheo in the women's small final, and then it'll be Elizaveta Ivanova against the world record holder Yiling Song in the women's big final. Over on the men's side, Daniel Boldarev will take on Vladislav Dolin, and then Alfia Mohamed against Xijin Song on the men's side for the big final.
Just that period of time where the climbers have got to have their compulsory rest from the previous races. The fitness to come out time and time again in the speed final, I always find quite fascinating. It's a 15-meter route, 5 degrees overhanging. Good speculation as the actual technical difficulty of a sport climbing grade. We won't even go there, but to do that and release that much power time and time again, I find really impressive.
No, it is impressive. You ever watch Usain Bolt being interviewed 5 minutes after he's only run 100 meters, he's still heaving, and these climbers have to come out and do it repeatedly. It'd probably be pretty handy on a speed wall.
Maybe that's where he needs to go to next. He's football at the moment, isn't he? Just give up that and just get into speed climbing.
Footballer in his own mind. Alexandra Kaluchka now on the left against Eri Sazantigraheo on the right. This for the bronze medal, both away cleanly and then both slip. Neither recorded time.
What has just happened? That was fascinating. I'm not sure if I've ever seen anything like that. It was like side by side.
It's absolutely synchronised as well.
Let's have another look here. Just as they launch.
Mike, have a look. Which move did they actually fall on?
Pretty clean start. It's hold number 4. I think it was Reheu's actual left hand slipped. So they're getting ready for a rerun. We'll just check the technical delegate is on stage asking what the situation is with the athletes.
Break. Alors là, on fait un break. Là, on fait un break, c'est décision. Allez, ça fait sourire, mais là, on a un peu moins par contre après le break là.
So as soon as we receive more information, we'll give it to you. I believe they're going to go off stage and have a rest before the next rotation. Actually, it'd be amazing if we could see that again. See exactly what happened there. Looks like we're going to
quite extraordinary. It's we're on to the men's small final.
Le russe contre l'Ukrainien, Daniel Boyariev contre Vladislav Dolin. Là, par contre, pour le coup, physiquement, c'est presque les mêmes.
I think the officials here, Charlie, just changed their mind potentially. There's a bit of a conversation going on as to quite how they want to run this one.
C'est là que c'est important un règlement. Ça nous permet d'applaudir les petits chamonniards qui assurent, s'il vous plaît. Faites leur innovation.
Okay, so our men's small finalists have disappeared back in.
Let's have another look then. This is exactly what happened here. This is the race where they both fell off exactly at the same point. So we've seen a slip on the right-hand lane on the 4th hold, I think it was. That's hold number 3. So it's a right foot and a left hand. Fascinating stuff as always in speed climbing. Basically the hands are in the same position, but it was the feet on the left-hand lane and the hand on the right.
Here they come for the rerun. So there was a bit of confusion about how the rerun was going to be organised. In that situation, it is a rerun. We had the small finalists for the men sent out. They then went back in, probably not the preparation they want. So now we have the rerun. There is actually a minimum rest time that the climbers have to get, but it doesn't apply in that case because they barely got clean of the ground. So here we go again, second attempt at the women's small final. And we don't have the time on screen this time, but it's Kaluchka who's away. Looks like she's leading, but Eri Sasanti-Raheo is beginning to close in, and it's Kaluchka who gets it to 7.661. She takes the bronze medal.
In the end, that was a good tight battle up until the slip there from Sasanti-Raheo. There was a lot of pressure on them actually after a bit of confusion as to what was going on. Let's have another look.
Well, yeah, as I say, in that situation, it is a rerun. But there seemed to be a bit of confusion about whether they got straight on with it, whether they had a 5-minute break, whether they should run the men's small final first. Anyway, we got there in the end, and it is Alexandra Kaluchka who gets it after that fall. Well, there was a couple of slips preceding it, that fall from Eri Sasanti-Raheo. So now Daniel Boldyrev and Vladislav Dolin come back out. Which of them will deal best with the pressure here? Boldyrev will be on the left and Vladislav Dolin will be on the right. Boldyrev, a former winner here in Chamonix.
Yeah, another thing that these athletes have to focus on, we said at the start, this sport is all about execution. Just those extra factors that go into the psychology, technical incidents, rain, bits and bobs. It's amazing what they can actually deal with and really put down the impressive times. Let's see if it has an effect in the men's small final.
Ready?
Very quick start from both, but it's Boldyrev who's quicker through the middle third of the route, but then has a major slip. And Dolin takes it, doesn't even need to go under 6 seconds, 6.057. He takes the bronze medal. Boldyrev had that one there, he certainly had the lead. He just couldn't quite hang on to it. Slight frustration for him, ends up in 4th place here in the legendary Place Mont Blanc.
Bitter disappointment for Boldarev there. Let's have another look. He did seem to have a slight advantage at this stage in the race. Let's see what went wrong. Just a fumble of the hands, seemingly. Don't see that too often. See what it means to Dulin to take away another speed climbing medal.
So, women's big final now. This for the gold medalist, Izaveta Ivanova on the left, Yiling Song on the right. The winner will take the gold medal. The runner-up will take the silver medal. Who will it be? It's Yiling Song, who's actually come close to her own world record here. We weren't expecting especially quick times on this Chamonix wall, but she's completely confounded that expectation. Elizaveta Ivanova, meanwhile, on the left, picked up a bronze medal last week in Villars, and is going to pick up at least a silver here in Chamonix. Yiling Song really got the game face on. Looks ready to launch. Was just moving about on the pad, Yiling Song, but it was Ivanova, who false started, and it is Song who takes it. Perhaps not the most satisfying of victories when you don't get to run, but she is the gold medalist here in Chamonix. Once again takes a World Cup win. That's pretty much the worst outcome possible for Anouk Jobert in the overall rankings. They were tied coming into this, and Yiling Song's had a fantastic World Cup.
Let's have another look, see if we can see that false start, Charlie, at all.
Yeah, I was about to say Yiling Song was moving around all over on the timing pad, and you have to be careful because the timing pad doesn't actually measure when your foot leaves, it measures when a certain amount of pressure is released. So if you move around too much, you can actually trigger a false start, and Yiling Song was moving around a lot, but it was Ivanova who false started. Not the most dramatic end for us, sadly, in Chamonix, but it is Yiling Song who takes the gold. Elizaveta Ivanova who takes the silver, and we will grab a word via a translator with Yiling Song before we go off air tonight. So the first false start of the women's competition, and it was in the
most
big
crucial
final
moment.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, the final man, a crazy final man, Indonesia versus China.
So over on the men's side, Alfie Mohammed, she's in Song. Song on the left, Mohammed on the right, both World Cup winners before. Song a multiple world champion as well. We keep saying this about shooting Song, certainly in the second half of his career, and Alfie Mohammed in the first half of his, you would imagine. Only one of them can win here in Chamonix, though. It would be great after the false start we just had in the women's big final if we could have a really nice clean race here. Ideally a blisteringly quick time, somewhere around 5.5 seconds if I really got to choose.
Ready?
Song facing head on into the wall, launches up the lower section, but it's Mohammed who's much quicker through the middle third and will take it in 5.764. Alfie Mohammed picks up his second World Cup win of 2019. He turns to celebrate and sees the good folk of Chamonix laid out beneath him. The Place du Mont Blanc packed to celebrate a gold medal for Alfie Mohammed. Win number 2 of this season for him, and he is beginning to climb up those overall rankings as well.
It's good to see a run go down to the head-to-head right at the very end there. No false starts on that one. Xi looked like he was in an early lead there. Good start, but then Alfie Mohammed absolutely blistering through the remaining of the route.
She's in Song, as you said, Mike, got a really, really handy start, and then just momentum just seemed to drift away through the run. Let's have a look. Yeah, he was quick through the middle section. Really clear stumble, slight miss with the right foot, slight miss with the left as he went out wide there, and then another stumble towards the top. No huge errors, but just 3 mini mistakes that cost him. There was the right foot that wasn't spot on.
Yeah, that right there is the definition of winning and losing a dual race in a speed final. Very, very small mistakes lead to a 6.3 compared to Alfie Mohammed's blistering time on the right-hand side. So clean. 5.76 it was, and there you have it. In the end, good hours entertainment there in the speed climbing once again. A couple of big false starts, one Bassam Mawim's competition earlier on.
And don't go anywhere, we will be interviewing both the winners And we'll also be bringing you the podiums as well. So it's Yiling Song and Alfie Mohammed who take the gold, which is exactly how it finished as well in Chongqing earlier on this year. It's still the hottest World Cup I've ever attended, Chongqing 2019. It was like being in an oven.
Perfect for climbing.
Oh, fantastic conditions, yeah, 38 degrees, 90% humidity.
Good for cooking an egg, but
yeah, superb egg poaching terrain, but not so much for climbing. None of that to worry about here in Chamonix. Temperature really beginning to drop now in the Place du Mont-Blanc. Very pleased to say that very brief section of rain bit of rain we had is now long gone. No sign of any more of that. And now we'll just wait. I'll be disappearing not too long to go and do the interviews. And Mike, I will leave you to enjoy. I was about to say enjoy the view. The view has long since disappeared. Enjoy the Place du Mont-Blanc, and I'm off to grab a word with the winners.
Well, I have to say I won't be enjoying the view of the mountains, unfortunately, right now from this position, but the scene here in Chamonix is absolutely electric. Fantastic start to the finals of this week here in Chamonix. Speed finals obviously just concluding there, and the lead semi and finals coming tomorrow morning. Do join us for that live stream here once again from Chamonix in the morning, and then the always spectacular final in the lead in the evening under the spotlights. Really good competition here though. Say our position here just a couple of meters to the left hand side of the Chamonix speed wall, and we're hearing whoops and cheers all around us as the Chinese team are very, very happy about another win from Yiling Song, and the Indonesians particularly excited behind us, which is always good to see. Good scenes as we get ready for interviews with the winners shortly. I'm sure there will be the never so easy task of finding a translator to go alongside them. That will be coming as soon as we have it. The crowd here in Chamonix slowly filters out, and you can see the podium there under the spectacular lead wall. Like I said, that will be in action tomorrow. As for now, the blizzard of photographers around us slowly start to filter out to get their podium shots off to the right-hand side. Just one speed competition left after this one before the big competition at the World Championships in Tokyo in the middle of August. Good speed season so far. I mean, I have to say, times are quick this year. Yiling Song obviously new world record. Men's competition consistently good times throughout the season. Slightly slower here in Chamonix. Speculative reasons, but good competition nonetheless.
Et là, le championnat du monde cette année, il est avancé. C'est du 11 août au 21 août à Tokyo. Ça sert de test event pour les Jeux Olympiques. Et on vous rappelle que pour faire partie des 7 premiers grimpeurs au monde à aller aux JO.
We're very pleased to say we do have the winner interviews ready for you now.
Congratulations, I can see you're very emotional. What was it like to win in Chamonix?
看到你夺冠，非常的高兴，特别是你在沙漠尼这站赢了。
Thank you, thank you very much. 哎呦，我说啥呀？
说说呗。
没啥好说的，我现在
高兴吗？
高兴，但我有点缓不过来。
She feel like dreams come true and really happy win World Cup here in Chamonix.
And the time was very fast as well, despite the conditions.
他说你这个时间也很快，而且在这种条件下爬出这么快的成绩。
我不知道，就是正常嘛，正常，我也觉得挺正常的。
She think the time is not so fast. It's like normal training, something like that. Yeah.
All things are relative, I guess. Congratulations on your win in Chamonix.
祝贺你赢，在沙漠尼赢了。
Thank you, thank you.
Always so good to hear there from Yiling Song. Never easy going through the translator. Good work down the front there from Charlie Bosco, swiftly out of the commentary box into the translated interview there. But yeah, quick times, I would say. I'd have to agree with that, Yiling Song. Let's hear now, though, from the men's winner. It's Alfian Mohammed.
19, and it was in Chamonix. That must have been amazing.
I'm very happy. It's amazing for me, and I miss this moment. And I love you, Indonesia.
And the crowd was so big here. What was that like?
Yes.
Makes it more exciting when there's a big crowd.
Yes, exciting for me.
Okay, congratulations and enjoy the podium.
Thank you very much.
It's nice to hear briefly then from Alfian Mohammed takes away the win here in Chamonix. Just the podiums to come then. Do stick with us with a full podium ceremony still to come. It's the moon popping out just behind the wall there. You can't quite see it off to the left. Beautiful moon here in Chamonix, and the good times continue tomorrow. Definitely do not miss that. Charlie just returned to the commentary position. Great to hear from the winners about just a little bit briefly. Tricky job out there tonight.
Yeah, it was tricky. I mean, Yiling Song came over in floods of tears, managed to compose herself. But you have to feel sorry for her. Very young. She's on the other side of the world, speaking through a translator with a camera shoved in her face and a light. I thought she did pretty well to give us a little bit there. And Alfian Mohammed bursting with enthusiasm. I mean, you don't really need to speak a lot of English when you take a look at the look on his face. Fabulous moment. So congratulations to both of them. That's it from myself and Mike. We'll be back with the lead semi-finals tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. But do stay with us. We will be live streaming the speed podium. But as I say, that's all from us. We'll speak to you tomorrow.
If it's yours, come get it. And it's at the
sometimes I understood better with me, huh? No?
But they know their name. Al-Asiri Mazen Khalid, your passport is at the judges' table from Saudi Arabia.
So in 2 seconds, the awarding ceremony for this World Cup. Ladies and gentlemen, the victory ceremony for the IFSC Speed World Cup Chamonix 2019. Mesdames et messieurs, la cérémonie des vainqueurs de la Coupe du Monde d'escalade de vitesse de Chamonix 2019. Please welcome the medalist for the speed climbing woman. The medals and flower will be presented by Mr. Marcos Colaris, président de l'IFFC, Mr. Alain Richier, président du Club des Sports. Bronze medalist representing Poland. Médaille de bronze représentant la Pologne, Kaluka Aleksandra. Silver medalist representing Russia. Médaille d'argent représentant la Russie, Elizaveta Ivanovia. Gold medalist and winner of the Chamonix IFSC Lead World Cup 2019, representing China. Médaille d'or et vainqueur de la Coupe du Monde de vitesse de Chamonix 2019, représentant la Chine, Yiling Song. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem. Mesdames et messieurs, veuillez vous lever pour l'hymne national de la Chine. Ladies and gentlemen, the World Cup medalist. Mesdames et messieurs, les médaillés de la Coupe du Monde. Alexandra Kaluka, Elizaveta Ivanova et Yiling Song. Ladies and gentlemen, the victory ceremony for the IFSC Speed World Cup in Chamonix. Mesdames et messieurs, la cérémonie des vainqueurs de la Coupe du Monde de vitesse masculine de Chamonix. Please welcome the medalists for the speed climbing. Mesdames et messieurs, veuillez accueillir les médaillés pour la vitesse homme. The medal in flower will be presented by. Les médailles et fleurs seront remises par Monsieur Pierre You, président de la Fédération française de l'escalade, accompagné de Monsieur Éric Fournier, président de la communauté de communes de la vallée de Chamonix. Bronze medalist representing Russia. Médaille de bronze représentant la Russie, Vladislav Dolin. Silver medalist representing China. Médaille d'argent représentant la Chine, Xing Song. and winner of the Chamonix IFSC Speed World Cup, representing Indonesia. Médaille d'or et vainqueur de la Coupe du Monde de vitesse de Chamonix 2019, représentant l'Indonésie, Mohamed Alfian. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem. Mesdames et messieurs, veuillez vous lever pour l'hymne national de l'Indonésie. Mesdames et messieurs, les médaillés de la Coupe du Monde de vitesse, Alfian, Mohamed, Sing Sing Song et Vladislav Delin. Congratulations everyone, all the delegation on the speed competition, and now the speed is over. Meeting tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock for the